This Busch Light Clash of the Coliseum 2024 props pick edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting research platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com. Use code SGPN to get 50% off of your first month and start making smarter bets today. We're also brought to you by KUTT. KUTT is a peer-to-peer social betting platform that's U.S.-based and available in 40 states. Head to KUTT.com, that's KUTT.com, and use promo code SGPN for a 10% deposit bonus. And we're also brought to you by the Sports Gambling Podcast Patreon. The guys just dropped their bonus behind-the-scenes episode of Sean winning $200,000 plus this week. His pick and prize is a free $250 Super Bowl square. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon to join today.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'll wreck my mom to win a championship. I'll wreck your mom to win a championship.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
It refrains me from not beating the out of you right now because you ask me stupid questions. But since I'm on probation, I suppose that's improper to say as well. If you could talk about racing things, we could talk about racing things.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Oh, it may look different, but it is still the same show. It's the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez. For those of you who don't watch on YouTube, you don't know what the hell I'm talking about. It may sound a little different for you today on the show. That's the part you're going to notice. Of course, I am on location, coming to you from a beautiful Army base in some godforsaken place in the world, but still happy to be with you here on a Friday night. Cody, cheers, buddy. Happy Friday night.
Cheers. I know you don't have beer. You've got Army duties, but I've got
my water.
Beer. You got your water. It is the Busch Light Clash, so I think drinking a water in honor of Busch Light, really, it's the same difference. So I think that's a good call. The chat is lit already.
I know. What the hell?
Just got in, says, fellas. I don't know if he just got in from a night out on the town or what. Old-fashioned football in the house. Cody said grab a beer. Hope whiskey's okay.
Yes, it is.
It's definitely okay. Nick Fortune.
Oh, my God, you guys. Hold on. I'm sorry, but I have to butt in real quick because I had last night was a fantastic night for me. I had to hit up my old-fashioned football buddy because there was a build-your-own old-fashioned bar, and I needed some input. And I got a old-fashioned and infused it with smoke. Oh my God, I've never done that before. Cody and Justin, I got to send you the video. The smoke just rose off to the top. It was just fantastic. So thank you, Old Fashioned. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Cody, for helping me build that. It was fantastic.
That sounds pretty interesting. Sounds cool.
Yeah,
I have to post a video so everybody can see it. Nick Fortune in the chat. Let's fucking go. He's waiting for the car manufacturer props. We're waiting on a few things. There's more plays out now than there was earlier this week, so heavily thankful for that, Rod. But we're still missing a few things. So, Kyle Lee in the chat says, "What's up?" Rye wants to know if this is what it looks like behind Rod's closet doors.
No.
Rod opened the closet. He's sitting on the other side. He's got an Army barracks room. It's a weird layout, but whatever. Army guys are into weird things. So.
It's funny to me though that everybody knows what my closet doors look like. I would have never. I mean, I didn't even consider the fact that people just know what my closet doors look like. That's me now in a nutshell. What my closet doors look like.
If you're listening on the podcast, you really should try the YouTube out sometime. But
please,
Rod's
just
general back is his or backdrop, drop back, whatever. It's his thing. So yeah, man. Chat's lit tonight. I can't even keep up. They're lit tonight. Love it. Appreciate it. Let's go. Rare Friday night appearance from the NASCAR Gambling Pod. Luckily, Rod got done with his duty, as Nick Fortune says, laugh out loud duty,
Duty.
which is always fun. It's like, nah, he said duty. But yeah, oh fuck, let's go.
Yeah, I'm telling you right now, this may have to become a thing because you guys, man, you guys are into this. I love it. I love how many people are hanging with us on this. And Friday nights, we tend to try to keep Friday nights kind of open for us, but yeah, I don't know. From going forward, you guys seem to like these Friday night podcasts.
Maybe we'll have some every now and then. Vinny checking in, says finishing up the Netflix series tonight. I finished up last night. Oh man, if you've not seen that, go watch it. It's really cool. It gives you kind of an insight into some of the drivers. So pretty awesome.
I was like, no spoilers. I haven't gotten there yet.
Well, I won't tell you who won the championship last year then. I would hate to spoil that for you.
Oh man, you know what? Could you imagine not knowing and then watching the show and then finding out? You're like, oh shit, really? He won?
Like, whoa, this is what happened. All right.
You gotta love it. All right, so we are here again today to basically, like we said earlier in the week, we had some odds. Obviously, most of them were all essentially outright odds, and we couldn't necessarily get down to the props. So hopefully, we thought that the books would kind of open up a little bit and give us some props. Well, on Friday night they delivered. Well, I think it was last night they delivered, but yeah, we're able to give you a few more prop picks that we like. I know we found some top 5 odds that we like, and a couple more on top of what we gave you on Friday. And then of course we'll kind of double down on some underdog picks as well to give you just a little bit more to have some fun with on the Clash, because now they gave us some underdog picks and we'll give you some underdog picks.
Hey, it's our first race week of the year. We got to
yes.
get in every bit of everything we can. You want to start with some news items that came out today? It's been a busy day. Bob Pockris, man, blowing up my Twitter feed today.
I'll tell you what, let's do the news. Let's do the news. But I do want to actually go in and do this real quick so we can take as long as we want to tell the news.
Love it.
Let's tell you about our SGPN Patreon. The guys just dropped this month's bonus episodes. You want to see behind the scenes of Sean winning $200,000? Who doesn't? Let's face it. You can get that right now on the SGP Patreon. Plus this week's Patreon Pick'em prize, you get a free $250 Super Bowl square, plus access to all of the pick sheets, all of the exclusive channel content on the Discord. Man, I'm telling you, this SGP Patreon is just, it goes so much farther than you can ever imagine. It's a rabbit hole you want to dive into. Get there right now by heading over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. We just told you just a second ago, we're about to give you some underdog picks for this race. Underdog Fantasy has a way for you to play alongside your favorite fantasy players all season long. NFL, NBA, NHL, college basketball, college football. All you got to do is pick higher or lower on your favorite players' fantasy stats and cash in. Not to mention, you can win a spicy 100x with those spicy plays. Hang tight. At the end of the episode, we're about to give you a ton of underdog plays for the Clash. So watch along, make your picks, maybe make a little cash over on, maybe you're going to make some cash over on Underdog's mobile app or website, underdogfantasy.com. When you sign up with the promo code SGPN, Underdog's going to double that first deposit of up to $100. That's Underdog Fantasy promo code. Wait for it. Race SGPN. All right, Cody, I want to hear the news because, yeah, obviously I've been living under a rock for the last couple of days, so the news is trickling into me. So what does Bob Pockris have to tell us?
Yes, well announced this morning, Riley Herbst is going to drive select races for Rick Ware Racing in the number 15 car.
Go.
Most importantly, Rod, Daytona 500. Monster Energy, to no surprise, will be the sponsor. Another guy, we are going to be placing bets on Riley Herbst in the Daytona 500. We did so last year. I don't remember, was he top? Did he finish top 5, top 10? I know he was top 10 for sure. I feel like he was like 6 maybe in his first career start. Cashed us a ton of tickets in Xfinity last year. He's going to cash us a ton of tickets in Xfinity this year. Going to get a chance to bet on him in the Daytona 500, which I am extremely happy about because I love betting on Riley Herbst. I love betting on Riley Herbst in the Cup Series on these super speedways because he's pretty good at it.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing about Riley Herbst is I feel like this is probably the last we'll start to see of him in the lower series. We may really start to see him catch a ride up in the Cup Series here in the near future. It's too good to keep down there that long.
That Wood Brothers car is calling his name, Rod.
21. I could see him in the 21. That'd be nice.
It brings the monster. I mean, anybody. there's got to be teams that want him. Bringing all that monster money with them. I mean, if they're willing to go to the Cup Series, they love the dude, and we made fun of him a couple of years ago for it, but they've stuck with him, and it's turned out very nicely for them.
Well, it wouldn't be Monster's first run in the. They had the whole naming rights to the entire. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and they've got like 4 other cars in the Cup Series already. Ty Gibbs and a few other people. I mean, they got the Monster Unleashed always on Reddick, and so yeah, it'll be. They're no stranger to the Cup Series. SVG, they've announced. We knew he was going to do 7 Cup races for Kaulig in that 16 car, and they've announced which races those are. He's going to be racing at KUTT. So little bit surprised there. I would have thought AJ hits the first road course race for the Cup Series, but not going to be the case. At least not in the 16 car. I mean, they could field another car, I suppose. But so he'll be at KUTT there. He's going to do both Talladega races, kind of get his sea legs a little more on the super speedways, as he's never run a super speedway before. Obviously, he'll have to run the ARCA race to even qualify to be able to run the Xfinity race at Daytona. He's going to run the Coke 600, so kind of get the endurance race in there. Chicago, which really kind of surprised he's going to drive the Kaulig car at Chicago and not a Trackhouse car. So I don't know if they're planning on putting him in Trackhouse cars at all or not. I haven't heard anything about that. So kind of interesting there. Also going to be doing Watkins Glen, another road course, of course. And then he's going to do Las Vegas for some oval experience in October for the fall race there. So again, they're piecing and parting that 16 car together. We're kind of, filling in the blanks with some of who's going to be there. So yeah, I don't know. Interesting, I suppose.
If you're not in Discord, get in the Discord. There is a fantastic series of memes in which I think it was JDK posted them.
Yeah. I don't know if he I think he probably did make some of those, but just absolutely beautiful. Obviously, we jokingly call him Jesus because of how much people worship him. And yeah, it's the old Scooby-Doo where Fred is, uncaping the villain, and it says, Jesus on a shirt or something, and it's got, I don't remember what it is, but it's got a cross.
He's got a cross around
his neck,
and it's SVG's face. Yeah, it's fantastic.
So, yeah, go check it out because it's pretty hilarious.
I really do. It's so funny. I love it so much. And then he did one for where Jimmy Johnson, and then it's SVG like popping out. I was like, that's great.
Yeah, exactly.
So listen, this really still doesn't move the needle for me as much as, again, we talked about SVG. I almost really don't care. I will allow myself to miss out on anything good he does this season because I just can't fault it. I can't get behind it.
It's going to likely, and we'll see when we get to these, maybe he doesn't show up well at KUTT. Maybe you get to Watkins Glen, although Watkins Glen's going to be to Chicago. I don't know. I just don't see a case where his numbers are going to be good enough that you want to take him. I mean, he's going to be one of the favorites at these road courses, and that's not what I want. He's likely going to be the favorite at Chicago. And to repeat when you've got another season for these Cup guys, we've talked about it. We'll talk about it more. I would be surprised if at any point in the Cup Series, now Xfinity, we might find some spots for him, right? And he might be a better bet there on the road courses. He's going to be a tough guy to bet on because of his popularity and how much people go crazy over him and think he's just some road course god. And Marcos Ambrose, like we saw it, these guys were good, but did Marcos Ambrose ever win? I don't think, because I think, did he beat Keselowski in that Watkins Glen? That was one of the greatest finishes ever, but I don't remember who won it.
Yeah.
But either way, if he did, it was only that one, right? Like, I don't think he won a ton. So, Juan Pablo Montoya's, these guys just don't win a ton. So interesting, but again, I don't know that he's going to be a guy we might be fading him in some spots. If we get head to heads, which for some reason we don't have yet this weekend, potentially then be somebody to look at, but at fading. But yeah, probably not going to be betting on him, I would imagine.
Yep, just like my haircut, a fade. I will definitely be taking that one into account. All right, Cody, what do we got next? What other news is on the counter today?
Yeah, kind of the other big one. Taking the Clash to Mexico City or Guadalajara is on NASCAR's radar, perhaps as soon as next year, according to industry sources. That is a Bianchi bomb that dropped today from Jordan Bianchi at The Athletic. Rod, let me name you the times I've seen Jordan Bianchi report something and it's not been true, and I'm done because usually when Jordan Bianchi has a story, Jordan Bianchi's pretty much right a majority of the time, I think. So, and yeah, picks by Fitz in the comments. I guess he did win that race. Thinking of it now more, he did win it. It was one of the greatest races. The finish, Google that, Watkins Glen, Keselowski, Ambrose. The last couple of laps, just incredible. Yeah, but again, SVG is not going to light the world on fire, I don't think.
Not
but
even a little.
Back to the Mexico thing. So obviously, we kind of assume this is going to be the final year for the Clash of the Coliseum, right? That's the general consensus, and it's likely going to be something they continue to move around and try different things in different markets. And we've gotten into the LA market. You've got the that crowd and everything, and it's run its course. Now you move it to Mexico, get involved in there. Obviously, the NASCAR Mexico Series is running with them here at the Clash. They could run with them down there. Maybe we take Trucks or Xfinity down there with it. I saw Dale Tanhart say something about that on an X today. That's a great idea. Like, send them down there too. That would be wonderful. But yeah, again, I like it. I like all this going to different places and trying different things. They went to Japan back with, in the late 90s, I think it was. Earnhardt Jr. were there, Gordon, everybody. I like going different places to try different things, and I think that would be a fun addition and something different. And again, keep you on your toes, keep the drivers with stuff new and everything. I like it.
So when you think about the NFL and how much they've gone overseas and any other sport that has taken that leap and gone to different countries to try to showcase the sport, it's never a bad thing for the sport. And I know that the purists are always saying, oh, hey, go everywhere. Why don't we just stay in and say it? And that's fine. I understand your reasoning for wanting to keep everything there, but why not?
Yeah,
like
the other 37 races are in America. So
you're and then tell me how many of those races those guys have been to that are saying, oh, you should never go to Germany or whatever. It's like, but how many have you been to?
Yeah.
None?
Yeah,
oh,
exactly.
Okay. Well, then shut up. We're going to have people who want to watch this race.
Bingo. Yeah. No, I think it would be great. So again, he's not reporting that it's a done deal or anything, but it's very much on the NASCAR radar. Now, we saw Canada was on the NASCAR radar this year. They were trying to get to the road course up there. Things didn't work out. They're going to Iowa instead, which is fine, right? We all like to see that. But they're definitely trying to spread out a little more internationally and pull in some of that crowd. And again, the more fans, the more people who get into the sport, the more everything is all for the better. So I'm all for it.
Yeah, it's never a bad thing at all. All right, I will give you one update as well as I look out my window. Remember, I am in Southern California. Yes. I'm about 30 minutes away from the track itself, and unfortunately, I cannot get out there tomorrow. As much as I keep trying to beg Uncle Sam to allow me to go and just miss work altogether, he's a little unforgiving in that way. But as I look out my window, there are clouds gathering. So for those of you who are a little bit worried about rain over the next couple of days, I would say continue to worry. There is a very real possibility that it could rain. We keep reading different stories about the protocols about what's going to happen if it does. I know that Bob Pockrass has already said it may likely take only a half an hour for the track to dry altogether, and then we can get ready to go again. But listen, I drove over here from the north to the south, and long about the Grapevine area, I got pelted with whatever was coming from the sky. So if that's any indication of what we could get down here tomorrow or Sunday, I don't know. I don't know what the outlook is going to be like. So keep an eye on the weather radar. I'll keep an eye out on the window, and keep an eye on the Discord where I can tell you, yep, it's raining in Southern California, like the song says.
Yeah, and so looking at Bob's most recent pinned tweet about it, they'll work with the local authorities if there's public safety concerns. Apparently LA can't handle rain. I don't know what the deal is there, but they do have the rain tires. But again, they can only race in the damp at this one. They don't have the wipers. They've got the defogger, but basically if there's any type of mist or anything, not going to be able to do it. So the track drying is tricky because it is a temporary racetrack. So they can't use the full air Titans they would normally use. There is drainage on the track. It's a very small track, obviously. But he says likely need 2 hours of no rain to get completely dry and get the Clash in. There's nothing scheduled at the Coliseum this next week, so they've got extra time. Obviously, it would push the teardown of the track back, but seems like they could push it back if they need to. Maybe we end up with a Monday or Tuesday race if it comes to that. And then, he says how many days basically to be determined based on the forecast, the logistics. You got to think about the cost for the team staying out there extra. You got to think about, prepping for Daytona. We've got the Clash, or not the Clash, but the duels midweek, not next week, but the following week, and qualifying and everything kind of leaning into that. Picks by Fitz says, too bad they got rid of the rain tires. They didn't get rid of the rain tires. They still got the rain tires that they'll use here. They just don't have the full rain package for this track specifically. I don't exactly know why, but they are still going to be using the rain package this year.
I'll tell you why, Cody. I'll tell you why. It's LA. It's never supposed to be
there's what, like
in
35 days of measurable rain each year or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's not like, but we went to Auto Club last year in California and it fucking snowed. So it's like,
yeah, I did.
It's just the weather follows NASCAR around.
Even to Southern California where it's not supposed to.
Where it's not. Yeah, it's supposed to be nice in LA all the time. What is this about? But so something to keep an eye on. Obviously, Bob Pockers is a good source for that. We'll keep things updated in the Discord too. Hopefully it doesn't get pushed back. Hopefully they can get everything in. But just have to kind of see, I suppose.
Well, we definitely will have to see. Although I will tell you, Cody, a bet I'd love to see on KUTT is the measurable rain this weekend in LA. Give me an over-under on the inches of rain, and we can probably try to make that a KUTT bet this weekend as far as how much rain we're going to see in LA over the course of the weekend. Well, what is KUTT? KUTT's a peer-to-peer social betting platform that's U.S.-based and available in 40 states. Peer-to-peer social betting is brand new, and it's a better way to bet. You can bet directly against your friends or other users on sports, politics, pop culture, and other events, just like how much rain is going to be in Southern California this weekend. As long as it's got a verifiable outcome, you can have tons of fun on social features that'll give you the feel of a betting social network. Also, KUTT offers the lowest VIG, and you get fully customizable odds. That means you can create your own bets, just like we just said. How much rain is LA going to get? KUTT also handles the payment side of things, so you never got to chase me down for money. Let's be honest with you. You never got to chase me down for any sort of money at all. We put it all in KUTT. KUTT handles how much everybody gets paid for the win. There's social features like group chats, betting leaderboards, head-to-head history, user profiles, fan groups, so much more. And what does everybody like? Rewards. Get cash back every single time you bet against your friends or other users. KUTT also allows you to list almost any kind of bet, like I said before, which makes it perfect for getting action on those fun Super Bowl prop bets. KUTT is the peer-to-peer social betting platform that's U.S.-based and available in 40 states. Head to KUTT.com. That's KUTT.com. Use promo code SGPN for a 10% deposit bonus. Win bigger by betting smarter this NFL season with Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting analytics platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Research every NFL, NBA, and soccer bet with historical stats and data. Enter any parlay idea into Hall of Fame Bets, a revolutionary parlay optimizer tool to get hit rates broken down by leg, as well as an expected probability for the entire parlay. Sort all players by hit rate for any bet to learn which players are hot and which picks have value. Stop betting in the dark. Join over 30,000 users researching with Hall of Fame Bets to craft more intelligent, data-driven parlays. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com. Use code SGPN to get 50% off of your first month today. Start researching. Start winning with Hall of Fame Bets.
Shameless little plug here. Got an article on KUTT over on sportsgamblingpodcast.com. They're offering a ton of Super Bowl novelty props. Will Travis Kelce propose to Taylor Swift? Of course, that's in there. Will the Andy Reid punt, pass, and kick video be shown during the broadcast? There's some commercial ones, all kinds of fun stuff. So go check that article out. Check out KUTT. They got NASCAR stuff coming in the near future here. So that's going to be exciting as well. Just to follow up, Picks by Fitz said, I thought they did away with them in reference to the rain tires. They did not. NASCAR announced in January they'll return to all road courses. Most ovals 1 mile in length or shorter, not Bristol or Dover. This year, the only requirement on those vehicles will be at the ovals will be the defogger. The lights, wiper blades, and rear flap will be required on the road courses, but not mandated at the short ovals. So I don't know. They still do have the tires, but changing a little bit of the proceedings for how they're going to use them.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't know that we even saw. I think we talked about this earlier. I don't think we even saw the full capacity of what could actually happen with those rain tires. I mean, listen.
Yeah, I think like that truck race at Martinsville, I feel like we did kind of
Yeah.
that, and that was really the first test, but that was really the only time they really used them. I mean, the
Mhm.
Cup Series, I don't recall ever using it. And again, it's tricky because they can do it, but not if it's really raining too hard. It's more for just if the track's wet to get back to racing earlier. It's such a limited group of tracks. Those are, of course, those are the weekends the rain doesn't hit. So yeah.
Yeah, and again, I mean, as F1 fans, we know and we've seen like full on wets. I mean, and obviously even in
They're
F1,
just there to
they've got
race
the
in
intermediates.
monsoons.
Oh, dude, they'll race in whatever. They'll race in like 5 inches of standing water.
NASCAR tried that at KUTT a couple years ago and about killed some
Yeah, that was not
people,
fun. Not fun.
Yeah.
All right, Cody, is there any other pressing news to get to, or should we start laying out some prop bets here?
No, I think that's about the crux of it. So we can jump into the picks here. Like I mentioned, still not the full slate of everything we're used to. Caesars did a good job of at least getting a lot of different tabs up. Not all of the things we would hope, like the top manufacturers. Obviously, something we nailed big time last year. Maybe that's why they don't have it this year. They got killed on it last year. But no head-to-heads. I haven't seen anything yet. I don't know. It's kind of ridiculous. But I did find top fives are out. Caesars has got that. They've got Tyler Reddick boosted to plus 275. There is a book out there called DRF. It's appears a smaller book. I don't even know which states it's in, but they've actually got some pretty decent prices. Like they've got him at plus 300. I'll talk more about them in a bit because they've got some really good prices. So might be something to check into. I know that it can be a pain in the ass to have, your money and your funds spread out across 10 different books, and it's hard to keep track of stuff and everything, but I can't encourage enough shopping around because, everywhere you can get a little bit on the price, you can find a better option. It is worth the extra effort of spreading things around. We'll try and tell you which books, to go to for the bets we're giving out to help out with the case and everything. But I think it is worth it to have those places to shop around, especially if you can find a little bit of a boost. So if Caesars is your option, got Tyler Reddick at plus 275. If you can get that DRF book, they've got him at plus 300. Talked about Tyler Reddick. He was one of the outrights I gave out the other day on the actual pick show, 20-1. But he's been, first of all, my guy going into this season, right? Covered that so many times. Love him. He's got, first things but first of everything, he's racing the Jordan scheme, that one at Kansas, that Kurt Busch won in. Just the most beautiful car you've ever seen. So he gets bonus points for that. Sixth place last year in the 2311 equipment. 2022, 51 laps he led out front before he got dumped. And was just running away with that race early before I think there was a caution. And then after the caution, he got dumped, right on the restart basically, and ruined his day. But he's been very good here in the couple of starts he has. Bubba, his teammate, was very good here last year. Absolutely in love with Tyler Reddick for the season. That love starts this weekend. And his top five price, again, plus 275 with the Caesars boost, plus 300 if you can get over to that DRF. That's a really good price. Again, we don't have any top 10 odds, which I think we probably won't see because there's only 23 cars in the main event. So they probably won't give those out this week. But the top five numbers are not bad, especially if you kind of get into that midsection like Reddick is right here. So love Tyler Reddick. And yeah, picks by Fitz. Let me say that correctly. Says he broke a transaxle, which, yeah, I believe that was the actual cause, but I'm pretty sure that was a wreck involved in that. I'd have to go back and look again, but I know he had issues after he was dominating the race. So expect him to be good. And again, doesn't have to win, just has to get in the top five here. And you make the field, and there's only 23 cars, so getting in the top five is, not easy, but it's a smaller group and less cars to pass and get to. So I like Tyler Reddick for the top five.
Yeah, again, you know how much we love our 2311 cars. In fact, I'll even make a stronger case for that later on as well. I mean, you made a strong case. I'm just going to piggyback off of your case to go with a pick here later on about that. But I mean, we have been on Reddick, and I think we've been telling everybody and beating down the hatches for Reddick early this season. So I'm going to go with a little bit of a, I don't know, chalkier top 5 play because, I mean, listen, I don't think anybody's opposed to winning money. I know that it's not sexy money all the time, especially with this guy Larson as a top 5 car at plus 130. I know it's not sexy. I know plus 130 in NASCAR is sort of like a push bosh. It's 130, but plus money is still plus money, and you probably should take it where you can get it, especially on a guy like Kyle Larson. He finished 5th here in the 2023 Clash at the Coliseum. And then he ended up finishing in 5th in the 2022 Clash at the Coliseum. I'm noticing a theme. It's not, it's not winning the race, but in both of the clashes here at the Coliseum, Kyle Larson is finished in 5th place, which means to me, Kyle Larson is probably going to finish inside of the top 5 in this race as well. And if you're getting him a plus 130 for a top 5, because again, listen, as we start to go through the season, right, those top 5 numbers are not going to be plus money for a guy like Kyle Larson. They are going to be minus. Well, okay, they won't be too outrageous, but it'll probably end up being a minus proposition for a top 5 on a lot of these tracks for Kyle Larson. So these are the type of situations where you have to take advantage of a plus money situation for Kyle Larson. And again, he finished 5th here both seasons of 2022 and 2023. So I think he could do it again. And look, he may even finish in the top 3. I'm not that confident. I'll still give him a top 5 at plus 130.
Yeah, I think that the more and more you look at this weekend, the more and more you look at these numbers, man, Kyle Larson, plus 950. You're getting a plus 130 for a top 5. Like, that is such a good number for a guy like Kyle Larson. I'm going to make a further case for him on another bet here in a few. But, man, it just seems like we forget how freaking good he is almost everywhere. Like, he's really, really good at these tracks, and he's one of the best drivers in the world, and that's nobody's arguing that, right? He is. And so when you're finding a good number, might not be a bad idea to take it, because we might look back at this after he leads every single lap in this race and be like, whoa, he was plus money for a top 5, right? And he's the type of driver who can do that. So I think he is somebody that being slept on a little, from the places I've listened to, I've not heard a ton of people talk about him. And that's when those types of guys seem to jump up. So definitely glad you highlighted him, because I think that he is a good guy to highlight for sure.
Well, he's a chalky name. And again, because nobody in this industry, this is what I love about this industry. Hardly anybody. Now, granted, the folks that we're friends with and the folks that they don't mind telling people that it's okay to bet chalk to win money. But a lot of the folks want these spicy, super spicy takes and want to be like, all they're in it for is to say, oh yeah, I totally called it, when for 15 weeks in a row you got it wrong, and the one time you actually did get it right, it's okay. Listen, we're telling you it's okay to win money. It's okay to bet on people that are going to be the easy people to pick, because sometimes, folks, the easiest answer is not the most outrageous. It is literally the one that's right in front of your face. So Kyle Larson is a top 5 car. Does it take a genius to tell you that? No, thankfully I'm not one. So I'm telling you that Larson is a top 5 as a plus 130. It's a good bet.
Yeah, I think it's a good call out. So next up for me, Austin Dillon. Look, Rod, we've been here twice. He's been on the podium both times. Last year he started in 12th place, found his way up to the front. You can't sleep on the guy, right? And man, you've got to get in on him, I think. And he's been so good at these couple of races. And we talked about Tyler Reddick back in 2022 dominating. That was in the 8 car for RCR. And then last year, Kyle Busch also made it on the podium. So RCR has been strong here. They're showing up for these races. So yeah, you look for his top 5 number, and you can get it at plus 300 on DraftKings. But again, if you go over to this DRF book, this is where you get huge differences like this. They're at plus 450 for a top 5 for Austin Dillon. That alone is worth signing up for this book if it's available for you, because that is such a huge difference in a price. You're going from plus 300. I mean, you're adding, you're going up. It's 2/3 of the price that that DraftKings has it. So you're going up. I can't believe it's that much of a difference, but definitely give that book a look. I've not seen much from them in the past, but if they're going to keep giving you numbers like this, they might be worth definitely taking a look at. So Austin Dillon, again, he's 2 for 2. I don't see why he can't do it again. He had a really rough season last year. I was kind of looking at some more stuff in the offseason. He made some comments about, they just fell so far behind early. They had a big points penalty early in the season, and then they were just trying to gain it all back in a big chunk, and it kept biting him in the ass. It kept biting him in the ass. It snowballed, and it just was a bad season. We know he's a good driver. There's been the rumors that maybe he retires sooner rather than later to help take over RCR. So, yeah, I love Austin Dillon this weekend. I think he's going to show up a top 5. All he has to do is finish in the top 5. He's 2 for 2 in the top 3. Just in the top 5, you can get him a plus 300, or you can get him at the plus 450 if it's available to you. I think that's a really good numbers on Austin Dillon.
Well, Cody, we've adopted the car lift in this, right? Most people have their ladders. We have the car lift where we will take a driver and car lift him up in the odds. So I will car lift up Austin Dillon.
I have a prop for this bet in the mail, Rod.
I'm
hoping that it works. I'm hoping it works out as nicely as I hope it does, because that'll be a fun little addition.
That will be okay. Awesome. So for me, I'm going to car lift up Austin Dillon to a top 3 at plus 750, and then you can take that car lift all the way to the top. I will tell you this, and Picks by Fitz said it, that he was surprised that I gave out Austin Dillon earlier because that wasn't, I'm way up there. Here it is. Sorry, I'm on my laptop, guys. I am so sorry. Picks by Fitz said I was surprised. Rob said AD in the Slack. I bet it would like an hour before he mentioned it. And again, I mean, this is the thing. I gave out Austin Dillon 2 days ago at 35-1 to win this race. Austin Dillon is currently 30-1 to win this race. People have been hammering Austin Dillon.
I've seen him down 25 in some spots even. So
yeah,
his numbers are dropping.
This is what I'm saying. Like people are starting to recognize that Austin Dillon's the business. Stephen Williams, this is facts, folks. Winning $10 on a $20 chalk bet is worth more than losing $10 dreaming and scheming. You know why? Because you have $10 more in your pocket than you did when you left. That's the way to go.
See, those Marines, they got a little bit of knowledge every now and then, Rod. And then
he says from an army post
comes in and says, yeah, he's down to 25 on DK. So I've seen his number definitely dropping. So get in again. We're riding the car lift with Austin Dillon this weekend. You get the top 5 number, you get the top 3 number. You gave him out as your winner earlier on this week. I think you ride all of it. You could have a huge payday from Austin Dillon to kick off your season. Would be a real nice way to start the season off.
Dillon, the car lift of the weekend. That's I didn't wake up and expect that to happen, but here we are.
Here we are. All right, next up for me, Caesars does have some different kind of boosts or creative little parlay type of things that they've built over there. Again, we had some people asking in the Discord. They've been the best book for NASCAR. Well, they were the best book last year, at least. And from their amount of futures, and then at least the amount of tabs they've created for this week, not necessarily all the bets are there, but hopefully that continues to be a good place to shop. So they have a top Chevy and top Ford mixture over here. So you got to hit both. They've got Kyle Larson to be the top Chevrolet. You talked about him earlier, right? We talked about how he's kind of being slept on a little bit. Look, he's one of the best talents in the entire series. You go over to the odds board, you've got 3 Toyotas favored in Truex, Bell, and Hamlin. And then it's Kyle Larson next and Kyle Busch right with him. Then it's 2 Fords in Logano and Blaney. So you're getting all the way down to William Byron at 12-1 before you're hitting the next Chevy even. So Larson, he's projected to be the top finishing Toyota anyways. You just need him to hold up his end of that. So I like that. You're combining it with Ryan Blaney to be the top Ford plus 1,500. This is the one that could be a little bit more of a stretch, but as we noted last year, the Fords were not great. Ryan Preece cashed that top Ford bet for us by finishing in 7th place. You don't need him to do that well to be the top finishing Ford. You look at the Ford field, you've got Joey Logano and Ryan Blaney are kind of co-favorites. And Logano won this race 2 years ago. But again, Rod, the hardest guy in the garage to predict. When's he going to show up? When's he not? And Ryan Blaney, they're both 11-1 to win this. Then you got to scroll down. You got Priest at 17-1, and we like him, and we've got some bets on him. So maybe he hits one of the bets and this doesn't hit. Again, one of those places where you can bet two separate ways on things. Both of them can go your way, or at least maybe one goes your way. But then after that, you got Chase Briscoe as well, who's another guy that we like. And then, you got Josh Berry. Just, again, not expecting a ton from him. And, Noah Gragson, he's 60-1 to win. So really drops off. There's just not a ton of strong Fords up there. You've got Keselowski and Busch. Jeez, I skipped right over them. But RFK hasn't even made this race in 2 seasons. So a lot of people are big on RFK. I've got some RFK thoughts later on in the show. I think we need to pump the brakes a little bit because they've improving in that they probably make the show, yes, but are they going to be the top Fords in this race? I don't know. So you're getting a chalky guy in Kyle Larson, and you're lumping him in with Ryan Blaney. Now he's coming off winning the championship. That can go one of two ways, right? There is that championship hangover that we've seen from every driver for the last few years where they've started the season slow, so you've got that to worry about. But you go back to Martinsville, in the fall, just watching that Netflix show, and Blaney was very good there, dominated the day for the most part, and he's been good on these tracks. We've talked about how good Fords have been here. I think Blaney can have a solid day. So I think Larson and Blaney together as the top Chevy, the top Ford. It's 15-1 over on Caesars. I feel like that number is good enough to try and hit both of these.
15-1 is a good one for two of the better drivers in their manufacturers. And yeah, you're right. Sometimes, again, go back to this whole chalky thing. Sometimes it doesn't matter if it's chalky. If it's going to win, it's going to win. It's going to win you money. And this isn't a plus 130. This is a 15-1. So I'd much rather take a shot on a 15-1 on two of the top drivers in their class than, again, try to make a case for a guy like Justin Haley to win this race outright at, 100-1 or whatever he is right now. I can't remember how long his odds are, but, again, when we try to make cases for these guys to win at these long odds versus maybe shortening them up a little bit and know that we're going to do it. 125-1, by the way, for Justin Haley to win the race, in case you're asking. All right, my next one, I'm going to go ahead and just lump both of the 45 and the 23 together. I'll take 23-11 as the winning team at 9-1. I mean, you already talked about Reddick and how fantastic of a driver he is. His finishes in these last few races of this, especially last year when, he was in the 23-11 equipment. So again, if we think Tyler Reddick can win this race outright, which we kind of have a feeling that he could, it's not out of the realm of possibility. Then that's a good one at 9-1. But you're also getting Bubba Wallace, who, much to some people's chagrin, I still think is a better driver than we've seen on this track. Now, the key to Bubba Wallace, though, is A, keeping himself out of trouble, and B, keeping his temper from going out crazy. Because listen, we know that he is a very passionate driver, to say the least. And on a quarter-mile track where there's very little room to operate and very little opportunity for you to get your head straight and lap after lap, that's been the downfall of Bubba. But again, he's very capable of doing it. His teammate is an equipment that's capable of winning this race. Therefore, so is he. In fact, he's the one that was there beforehand, which means, he's had the equipment longer than Tyler Reddick. So if we think Tyler Reddick is a possibility to win this race, I also think Bubba Wallace is as well. So I'm going to just kind of take them both in a lump sum and go 9-1 on this one on top of some of the other outrights that we have for this race.
Yeah, I like getting the option of both of them. Obviously, love Tyler Reddick. I really like Bubba for this race too. I think we talked about him a little bit on Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever day. I don't remember what day it was. I think it was Wednesday, but
it was a day that ended in Y.
Yes, it was one of the days earlier this week, but we did talk about Bubba there as well. I looked at this one. I strongly considered adding this one to the card. So glad you chose to. Again, strong team, going to be solid in LA. Michael Jordan might even be there hanging out, watching the race. Would not be surprised by that. And yeah, Bubba was really good in this race last year. I believe Austin Dillon actually moved him when he was leading the race a little bit later on. So King in the chat, ready for some racing. Hashtag Team 54. Got a lot of Ty Gibbs fans that join the show.
Ty Gibbs has got a huge following, doesn't he?
Always appreciate that. I know Erica's always in here pumping up Ty Gibbs, always checking in on the Twitter. So shout out to them. We're gonna make so much money on Ty Gibbs this year. I'm super excited. Stephen Williams also, our resident Marine. He says, I sprinkled Sunny D car and Cheerios car because his daughter said so. That's about as best of the reason as you can get. I know he was asking the other day where to find all the paint schemes so she can go through and pick out the best looking ones. Those are some good looking cars. That would be Josh Berry, and I believe Cheerios would be Ricky Stenhouse. Might look at Josh Berry top 5. I don't know. It could be. I don't like it. I don't love it, but it could be worth considering. What is he at? I've got Caesars pulled up here. Oh, he's only plus 275. Oh, never mind. I'm no longer interested in Josh Berry.
You
he was a longer
better,
shot. Yeah,
you should have known better.
He's so fucking hyped up this season. Like, again, it's the SVG thing where they get too much love and the number's too big, and you can't find any value on it. You know, if he was farther down, if he was like 5-1 or 6-1, then you could look at it because he's got the short flat track history. He's done a lot of that type of racing, the late models, all that. But a plus 275 when you're getting guys like Tyler Reddick at that price, Austin Dillon at a higher price, like I just can't pull the trigger on it. So best of luck to you, Steven, but I can't talk myself into it.
I love it.
There's the JDK. SVG is Jesus. I don't know if you've been hanging around JDK, but we told everybody to go check out your memes earlier.
Yeah, go to the Discord. It's gold. It is definitely gold. All right, well I think that's it for our props, right? That's what we got for our props. So let me go over the props one more time for you guys before we actually get to the underdog part of this. Cody gave you Tyler Reddick as a top 5 car at plus 275 with that Caesars boost. And if you have access to DRF, go to there. That's plus 300 for a top 5 for Tyler Reddick. I gave you Larson as a top 5 at plus 130. Again, shop around if you can find a better number for that. I highly encourage that you do so. Dillon as a top 5 car rather for Cody at plus 300 on DK, plus 450 over on DRF. I gave you Dillon as a top 3 car as we ride that car lift all the way to the top at plus 750. And listen, if you really think he's going to win this race, if you think Austin Dillon can be a favorite to win this race, or your favorite to win this race, maybe not a favorite, grab it now because that number is falling fast. Cody gave you Larson as the top Chevy, Blaney as the top Ford, combined at plus 1,500. And I said that 2311 could end up being that winning team at 9-1. So that's the prop bets of this, and that's where we'll leave it there. But we definitely have some underdog picks. Jake Packwin in the chat checking in. He says he needs more ears for all these SGPN live streams going on tonight.
I noticed on the Discord there's quite a few shows that are live. Well, we appreciate you being here, Jake. Jake, of course, our merch god. He's the guy in charge of all our merchandise. So shout out to him. I did want to touch. Oh,
I've got a good one coming up for Jake. Jake, I got to send you what I've got, buddy.
Oh, yes. Rod's been working on something that we need into a T-shirt. And I'll be ordering the very first order of that for sure. I did want to just give our outrights again one more time. Gave these out on Wednesday, kind of splitting the pick shows up just in case you didn't get a chance to listen to that. You should go back and listen to it. But just to touch on it real quick, you gave out Truex at 10-1, Austin Dillon at 35-1. That was over on ESPN Bet. I don't know if those are, I think both those have moved down at this point, but I had given out Kyle Busch at 12-1 over on Superbook, Reddick at 20-1 on DraftKings, Priest 22-1 on DraftKings. And then Caesars has that boost with Kyle Busch winning, who I was already giving out anyways, and Pacheco to go over 20 rushing attempts in the Super Bowl, plus 2540. So just to quickly recap on those in case you didn't catch them earlier in the week.
Beautiful stuff. Yeah, again, keep an eye on these too, because as this weekend continues, those things could fly all over the place. So if you get it now at a good price, great. If it goes out of your way, I'm sorry, but if it starts to go toward your way a little more and you waited, good for you. So all right, as we talked about, Underdog Fantasy, if you use code RACESGPN, we're going to give you that deposit bonus. You're going to get an opportunity to use those plays in this clash if you do choose to do that. So we're going to give you some of our favorite Underdog Fantasy plays for this clash. Remember, all you got to do is pick better or worse than the finishing position. Now, granted, most of the other ones have higher or lower, but because we kind of made a comment to the fact that in racing, it's kind of, do you really want higher than or lower than? Because it's a little difficult and a little confusing. Because if he finishes higher than, like, is that higher number or higher position? So thank God, better than or worse than the finishing position, and you pick
much easier
your favorite drivers.
Much easier to scope that through that and figure that out. Again, that's code RACE SGPN when you sign up. Dude, they have their sign up program, like $100 match or 100% match up to $100. That's a lot better than you're getting on a lot of things. So, and it's more than worth it. Rod, I've already done my first best ball draft for the 2024 season.
Jesus Christ.
They've got that available over on Underdog. So got that team in already. So yeah, that was a beautiful start. I did also want to plug real quickly our Daytona 500 contest. We've got that coming up, obviously, for the Daytona 500, but you can get entered now. It's in the pinned tweet on X, in the pinned post on Facebook. I can drop it again in the Discord if you ask me to. But simple, subscribe to the YouTube channel. You should be anyways. You can be hanging out with us on a Friday night right now, like all these wonderful people in the chat are. Take a screenshot of that. You click on the form, submit the photo of that screenshot that you're subscribed, put in your name, your email so we can contact you. When you win, you pick the winner of the Daytona 500. Easy as that. Ricky Stenhouse, of course, pictured on this beautiful YouTube graphic. We know anybody can win this race. It's been Stenhouse, it's been McDowell, it's been Cindric, it's been the favorites like Hamlin. We've seen the whole gamut win it, and that holds true this year. So, again, super easy to enter. $100 and a $100 merch gift card to use on Jake Pake. Great creations over there, including the new design that Rod is going to be getting to him shortly.
Swear I will get that up this week. You guys will have that up. I want it to look a little bit better. Like I think it looks great now, but I want it to be a shirt where you're going to wear it wherever you're at because it looks that good.
It looks pretty good already. So I don't know if you need to do too much to it, but
well, there's a little tweak that I want to make it like from a middle school iron-on to an actual legit T-shirt. That's what I want.
All right, deal.
So, all right, Cody. Well, let's go ahead and get to some of our favorite underdog plays. Where are we going first?
Yeah. So moving over here to Underdog again. Super simple on these. You pick a couple. You get the multiplier. You got to pick at least 2, but you can pick up to 5. I think it is. You can do the insurance play if you want to be able to miss one of them. But yeah, the Underdog is great. You're not going up in a big contest like the DraftKings contest where you're playing against a bunch of people. Very simple. Just playing against yourself. Give me Ryan Preece better than 10.5. Rod, he dominated this race last year before the electrical issue. Even after the electrical issue, still able to hold on to 7th place. We saw him then go on to lead 131 laps to open up the Martinsville race. He is a guy that is just really good. Again, it's the combination of Stuart Haas is always good at these short flat tracks. Ryan Preece has a modified background. He's been in the Cup Series a long time, and he's been good at these tracks through the different teams he's been on, right? We've seen him, over at JTG even, and he was pretty decent at some of these tracks, but very, very good in this race last year. Very high on him again this week. Of course, I gave him as one of my outrights. All he has to do for this is basically finish 10th or better, better than 10.5. Really simple. So love me some Ryan Preece, better than 10.5 over on Underdog.
I mean, this probably could be set to even, I don't know, 6.5 or even 5.5, and it might be very tempting as well.
It's not like a 7.5, since with them finishing 7th last year. I'm surprised they didn't set it there. But yeah, don't tell them. Hopefully they're not listening. Just go hurry up and go get it in. Promo code RACE SGPN before they change it.
Lock that bad boy in before it's not there anymore. And you're right. Again, we talked about these guys in Briscoe all week long, and I think 10.5, a top 10 for Preece is, that's definitely a good lock right there. Give me Ross Chastain. His number set right now at 11.5. That's his projection for finishing position. I get it that Ross Chastain is a polarizing figure most of the time when it comes to, he's either a balls out guy or he's a guy that's not going to even make the show, right? I mean, you never know what you're going to get from Ross Chastain on a season to season basis. But I will say that he actually did have a top 10 finish in this race last season. And in fact, he finished 8th. He started 12th and finished 8th. He didn't make the big show in 2022, but he did make it in 2023, and he ended up finishing in 8th place. Again, this is Ross Chastain, right? I mean, the range of opportunities for Ross Chastain is great. It's fantastic. It's as wide as the rivers are. But for Ross Chastain, I think I'm going to bank on the fact that he's still maturing. And after an 8th place finish last season, I think he's going to bring that to the table again this season. And look, he won, right? He won last season in some pretty good races. And I don't know. To me, I feel like I'm done counting out Ross Chastain because of his immaturity. I think that's about to stop this year. I think we see a more disciplined Ross Chastain, a better, and in fact, I think that makes him even a more deadly racer. Honestly, if he gets a little more disciplined, not lose the aggression, but get a little more disciplined with that aggression. Saying hello to my wife in the chat. Hello, Linda. How are you?
Shout out to Rod's wife. This is how she gets to see him tonight, unfortunately. But
yeah, unfortunately it is. So
shout out to her.
Steven saying that, Chastain is a super level-headed and makes a lot of friends on the track. Yeah, Steve, that's exactly the way that Ross Chastain operates.
Thinking just like a Marine again, but yeah, I Ross Chastain, man, after watching the Netflix series, you're gonna get some insight into Chastain, and it makes you like the dude even more, and it makes you feel like he's just due for a big. He's got the Busch Light sponsorship this year. That's such a huge thing for that team. You know, this is the Busch Light Clash. He's going to be in there, Busch car. I mean, it does line up well. And again, at only 11.5, like it's just so low for what Chastain probably should be. So, yeah, I like it, and I'm kind of leaning with you there. Another guy that you kind of look at it and you're like, you kind of wish you had more bets in on him, maybe, but I think this is a solid way to get in on the underdog side of things by taking his better than. Shout out to Erica Harper. Just mentioned her a few minutes ago when we were talking about Ty Gibbs. So
yeah, we were talking Ty Gibbs. You missed us, Erica.
Yeah. Appreciate you in the chat as well. I am going to go with Ty Gibbs' teammate for this next play, Christopher Bell. They've got him better than 8.5, Rod. That's where I'm going to take with Bell. Last season came home in 12th place, or 13th place rather. So, he would not have gotten this, but he was 8th place in the 2022 running. And man, Christopher Bell, he's one of those guys you kind of think of when you get to the short flat tracks, right? He was pretty strong at Phoenix before the brake rotor went out in the fall championship race. And you think of tracks like New Hampshire. He's absolutely dominated there the last couple of years. And again, it's tough to compare this to New Hampshire because it's a quarter of the size of New Hampshire, but the short flat aspect to that, Christopher Bell, just another guy that they continue to move forward. I don't want to spoil too much if you haven't watched the Netflix thing, but obviously, as you know, if you watched NASCAR last year, he makes it to the Final Four. Well, once they get to the round of 8, and you can kind of tell as they're going through it, they kind of focus on the drivers they think are going to go farther. So they start talking to Christopher Bell, and the producer says something like, they wanted us to follow these drivers that we thought were going to make it. And Christopher says something about like, and I wasn't on that list, was I? and the producer says no, and Christopher Bell goes, surprise. So you could tell his ass a little chapped that everybody's kind of down on him. I think he's one of those guys. He's one of those superstars kind of just under the radar a little bit. And I think he's made the Final Four 2 seasons in a row. Like, he's a really good driver. He's in great equipment. He's one of those 3 Gibbs guys at the top of the odds board to win this race. So, right, because it's hold on, I feel like he's moved up to 2nd on the odds board now to Truex. So it's Truex, and I don't remember where he was earlier, but at least looking at Caesars, they got Truex at 750. Bell is now at 900. So I don't know if a bunch of money just came in on him or what, but that makes the 8.5. He's the 2nd favorite in this, but you're getting him at 8.5 better than over on Underdog. So love some Christopher Bell.
Are you driving the books already? Good Lord, Cody. What? You haven't even gotten it out of your mouth yet, and you're already driving the odds down. Hey, save some for everybody else, will you? Speaking of driving odds down, I don't know. I mean, we're not that far ahead of the Clash, but I got to think that KFB, his number right now is set at 6. There's no hook here. It's just got to be finished better than 6. So he's got a 5th place finish or better. He can't finish 6th and hit this better than. But if anybody's going to do it, it's going to be Kyle Busch. He's going to get inside of the top 5. He did it last season, and this where we finished 3rd, right? He did it the season before that where he finished 2nd, and he had 64 laps in this race. Something about this particular track, something about this particular race, and he did it in 2 different cars, right? He did it in the 18 and he did it in the 8. So this isn't a matter of, well, he was in Gibbs equipment last year. No, he was in Gibbs equipment last year. Yeah, but he was also not in Gibbs equipment or 2 years ago, rather. Last year he was in Gibbs equipment or not in Gibbs equipment. Holy hell. My point is this.
Okay.
It is, but now at this point, the day that I've had, but no, for Kyle Busch, look, he's done it in 2 different cars on this track. And this race is definitely something that's suited for Kyle. The exhibition style of it, right? He definitely loves to come out and just throw caution to the wind in a lot of these races. He can win in anything he sets his feet into. So, he's a threat to win this race. And I think you did give him out as your winner. So, I mean, if he ends up winning this race, it's obviously better than a 6th place finish. So, I think you can jump in on him on the underdog part of this as well and make him part of your stack there and keep going and win. I mean, again, this is not a hard bet. If this were 4th, like better than 4, I may pause, but 6th, nah, smash that one.
Yeah, I like it. Again, very big on Kyle Busch this weekend. 2 for 2, again, finishing on the podium. That's well within the top 6. So I like it. Catching up on the chat real quick. JDK says he thinks Rotz puts up with less shit this year. Actually, 2 or 3 races. Really, I kind of agree. You saw it at Phoenix. Again, going back watching that documentary, it's kind of nice, like touching up on how the season ended, right? He won at Phoenix in the championship race. Wasn't given Blaney. I mean, Blaney was extremely mad at him for not racing him so hard when Blaney was going for the championship. Obviously, it worked out for both of them, but I do think that we're going to see more of that, Ross. I think he's put the Mr. H thing, the Chevy talk, the Justin Marks chalk behind him. He's going to show up, and he's hungry to win a championship. Have a good season. Steven says Chastain is his horse for the season. Still kind of a noob at NASCAR despite all these years. But I think you are right. If he can Day of Thunder his ass, maybe he can win. And Erica says she always misses her mentions and the Ty Gibbs mention. And like JDK said, click the bell. Then you're notified when we go live. So make sure you're doing that over on the YouTube. All right, Rod, I got one more.
Or ring the bell.
Whatever. Click the bell, ring the bell.
No, for Christopher Bell.
Oh, Christopher Bell. Maybe that's where he's going. I don't know.
Yeah,
either way, do all of it. YouTube bell, Christopher Bell. Hit the whole gamut of bells.
All right, who's last for you, Cody?
One more play for the underdog section. I'm going Brad Keselowski. Rod, I'm going to take him to finish lower than 8.5. Again, RFK, you go back through both times we've been to the Clash. RFK's not even made the race. Neither of their cars. Chris Buescher, who we've seen have 4 wins over the last 2 seasons now, and Brad Keselowski, they've not made the race at all. Later on in the season, we saw it, right? And it's like it looked like they were the lead team at Ford all of a sudden. And Penske obviously gets hot at the end, wins the title with Blaney, but we really have seen a lot from RFK, and they've continued to improve. So do they make the race this year? Maybe they do, right? And you can see it. Brad's a great racer, and Buescher's a great racer, and maybe they do make it. But even if they do make it after not making it for 2 years, is he going to finish inside the top 8? That's just such a stretch for me that he's going to get that much better all of a sudden, after 2 years of not even making it to that race. Again, maybe if he makes it, he gets there, but it just doesn't seem like he's going to do it. And I don't have the faith. One of those things where we're 2 for 2. You haven't showed it to me yet. I don't know how you're going to show it to me again. And looking back at the results, I was scrolling through 2022 here real quick, and to go back to my Ryan Preece point, Ryan Preece in 2022 made the main event in a Rick Ware car when neither RFK car made the race. So that both makes my case for Preece and how good he's been. And he finished 20th. I mean, not great, but for being in a Rick Ware car, that's not just making the races was impressive enough, especially at the beginning of 2022. Their program may be stepping it up a little and everything, but for Keselowski, again, they're 0 for 4 on making the Clash with their 2 entries. So I'm gonna fade him a little bit and take him finishing lower than 8.5 on Underdog.
I mean, look, we love King's Hawaiian. We love Brad Keselowski, but you're right. It is tough to come out here. And, again, this is not a track where you have a ton of history again. So it's if you're not good on it a couple of years, it's not like you can go, well, okay, we'll build a program around it. No, this is literally probably the last year that this is going to be there. So teams aren't necessarily trying to throw a ton of research into this race. They're just like, okay, well, listen, let's participate. Let's not wreck up a car, so we have to fix this one later. Let's just get out there and do it. I know, races teams like that you're not trying to build on anything. You're just trying to make it through the weekend and not tear up your equipment too much.
Yeah, I mean,
so
yeah, it's a tall task for when they've not even made it to the 23 car field to get into the top 8. Then, so I'm off of them.
Indeed. Cody, my question to you is 2024 an even year or an odd year?
Let's see. I believe every single number in 2024 is actually an even number. So I'm going to go with even year.
You are correct, sir. And therefore, I am going to take Joey Logano to have a fantastic season. And I think it starts with the Clash. They've got Joey Logano's number set at 8.5. I got to take the better than on 8.5 for Joey Logano. I understand that last year he didn't hit it, but last year, Cody, was a odd year. Therefore, it was not a year for Joey Logano to perform well. 2022 was an even year. Well, of course, 2022 was the first year of the Clash, which means Joey Logano is pretty much guaranteed to win it anyways, right? So, but 2024, even year, I think we're going to go ahead and go with Joey Logano, better than 8.5. Like I said, he won this race a couple of seasons ago. He's still one of those drivers where, like you said, he's one of the hardest to predict in the entire circuit. That's fine. I'll get it, but I'll also ride that even year to a better than 8.5. Because again, I think at least a 5th place finish is in line for Joey Logano this year. He's not one of those guys where you say, well, I don't know, maybe he could finish in the top 5. It's Joey Logano every week could finish in the top 5. Sometimes it doesn't happen, but he should be able to finish in the top 5. So I'm going to take his 8.5 better than.
Hardest driver in the garage to predict. So best of luck to you, Rod. I hope you're right.
Listen,
I don't know how to. I don't know how to analyze Joey Logano.
Well, Dos Flacco saying, wish we could bet or Logano for the pole.
Yeah, well, why do we not have pole odds? That's another great question, Dos Flacos. Thank you for bringing that to the attention because, again, no reason we shouldn't have a full slate of everything, Rod. I'm slightly annoyed this week, but we're gonna hit it big for Daytona, so it's all right. We're saving it up.
Yeah, this is the only week where we probably will end up being as annoyed as we are. Because, of course, once we get into race week up for Daytona, all bets are on.
Well, there's already head-to-heads out for Daytona. I mean, which we're not even getting this weekend. So, again, deep breath.
Deep breath.
Whatever. Anyway,
it's Friday. It's Friday. We're done. And we're just about to have a great weekend of watching race car drivers on the track in NASCAR equipment, having a blast. So, let's go over this underdog real quick. Cody gave you Ryan Preece better than 10.5. I gave you Ross Chastain better than 11.5. Cody gave you Christopher Bell better than 8.5. I gave you KFB better than 6. And then Cody gave you Brad Keselowski lower than or worse than 8.5. And I gave you Joey Logano better than 8.5. We super packed this episode, bro.
Woo, we did. We got a lot in, but it was fun, much needed. I'm glad you were able to jump on and step away from your Army stuff into your beautiful closet there. We're just gonna go with that. This is whenever Rod's coming to you from location, it's inside Rod's closet.
Inside Rod's closet. I love it.
Oh boy. But anyways, yes. It's here. Now we've got some racing, hopefully, as long as the weather holds off. And then the next episode we'll be back. We'll be recapping bets. And then it's going to be the Daytona 500. I'm so pumped. Enjoy this weekend. Probably the last time we're seeing this race in the Clash or at the Coliseum for now, at least. So, soak it in, enjoy it, and let's go make some money on it.
hopefully it doesn't soak on the track. So let's just have you guys soak it all in, and we don't get soaked on the track. But yeah, hey, thanks to everybody for sticking through. Again, I know this looks different. I know, that sounds different, and I appreciate you guys being supportive enough to just overlook some of that and just enjoy the content as it comes to you. Because again, we do this for you guys to have so much fun. This was a relief for me. I mean, Cody knows when I came on, I was like, dude, I've had a day. I don't know if I'm going to get through this, but thanks to you guys in the chat. Thanks to Cody, as always. Thanks to my wife for checking in to give me a little bit of a second win there toward the end as well. Yeah, you've made my Friday night a hell of a night to have some fun with you guys talking NASCAR. So thank you all for that.
Yes, thank you, Rod. We appreciate you.
Whatever. I sometimes wonder if I appreciate myself, but we'll see how that goes. All right. Well, then, just like Cody said, enjoy the weekend. Enjoy race car driving. Enjoy the start of the NASCAR season. Sad part is that we have to wait another week again afterwards. But I think there's a game that can kind of keep us, occupied in the meantime to not miss NASCAR.
I've heard, unlike some apparent sports gambling shows out there, that we're actually going to have Super Bowl picks next week. So we might actually decide to take a side. Again, if you didn't listen to us on the main sports gambling podcast show the other day, go back and listen to Sean's rant for the first about 10 minutes in that. It was beautiful, glorious, and he makes extremely solid points like he usually does.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. So, all right. But again, in the meantime, enjoy it all. And Cody, as we let everybody go on this Friday night, please remind everybody where they can find you on social media.
Yep. Follow me on the X at Husker_Zeeb. Find all my work over there. I got a coin toss article out with all the stats. KUTT article out. Got a ton of other stuff. Check it out. And let's go racing. Let's make some money.
Indeed. Sorry, that was so loud. I didn't mean to have music up that loud. I
couldn't even hear myself talking, Rod. Gee.
Yeah, I'm trying to do this on a laptop that has zero give to it, but yes. Follow me on X at RJ Villagomez. Link in the bio, everything I got going on, whether it's here, whether it's Sportsbook Review, In Between Media, all the millions of places, Arena Football Podcast that I got going on. Having a blast talking sports. That's what we do here all over the place. So again, everybody, racing. It's race week. Enjoy the Clash. Enjoy sunny Southern California. I don't care, whatever. But we'll be back next week with some more and leading up to the Daytona 500. Until then, everyone, let's go racing and let it ride.
Another piece of us is broken.